Hello everyone, this is Robyn and welcome to day 8 of my 12 days of Christmas. Today I am working on some of my customer appreciation thank you cards, and so it doesn't have the Christmas theme, but I think that this will give you plenty of ideas since Christmas is really just a couple weeks away and we want to have ideas that will last us all year long. So today I'm going to be using Layering Love stamp set. And I'm going to be doing the chalkboard technique, and I did demonstrate this a little bit on my live show. So if you're not familiar with my weekly live shows, I broadcast them on my Facebook page, and it's at My Pink Stamper. Those are 3 words. But I demonstrated the chalkboard technique, and I thought I'd turn it into a quick card for my customers that placed orders the first week of December and the last week of November. So I'm doing this using that stamp set, and then I'm also using writing notes, and I'm super excited. I don't know if I've ever demonstrated this background stamp on one of my videos, but I'm happy to do that today, and I really wish I would have done it sooner because there's so much you can do with it. Okay, I'm going to be using, these look like they're the same ink pad, but they're not. I'm using basic black, and I'm using our craft Whisper White stamping pad, and so this one is the pigment ink pad. And I'm going to be embossing with our white embossing powder. Stampin' Emboss, I think is what it's called. I'm using our heat tool for the embossing, and I love our heat tool because it has the 2 settings. It has the 1, you just want to try to dry something maybe on vellum, or maybe it's taking longer to dry, or 2, which is our, so number 1 is the heat set, number 2 is the actual, it gets hot enough to melt the embossing powder. Okay, I'm also going to be doing a little bit of Big Shot work with my Big Shot, and I'll pull that out in just a second. And I'm using lots of labels, right? Lots of labels. Yes, I'm using the smaller one. So this is the second largest size, and this is the next size down. And it comes in a whole set of different sizes. And I will go ahead and get started, and I'll just explain what I'm using at the time I'm using it. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and do my cutting with my Big Shot. Let me get that out of the way, out of my picture shot. Oops. Okay, I am going to be using, and I can do this at the same time. So I'm going to have the black piece of cardstock. This is basic black cardstock. It doesn't matter the size, as long as it fits my smaller framelit. I want to use it for another piece, so I'll do that. And then I'm using my Melon Mambo cardstock, and again, as long as this piece is big enough for my framelit. And this is a framelit, and you want the cutting size down, so the side that sticks up a little bit, you want that faced down into the cardstock, so that actually cuts it when you apply the pressure. Okay, where is my embossing plate? I think I must have thrown it away. Here we go. All right, I'm going to put my standard cutting pad on top of it. Oops, there we go. And I'm just going to roll this through. Super easy to do, and now I'm done with my Big Shot. I will set it aside, and then I will pull our materials back over here that we need. Okay, so this punched out this size here, and then this one punched out this size here, and then I can just set these aside for later and work on our next step. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do our stamping first, and then we'll do the embossing. So I'm using the Writing Notes stamp set, and I'm going to use Whisper White cardstock. This is cut at 3.5 inches by 4 3/4. I want you guys to see that really well. And I'm going to be using the basic black ink for that. And this is our paper, grid paper. You can get it in a stack, and you can use front and back. It has the rulers, the lines. I love this paper. It helps so you don't ruin your stamping table, which could be a kitchen table, a countertop. You don't want to stain that. Okay, so because my stamp is so big, I have it on a block. It's on block F, and Let me see how I want it. I want it like this. So to ink it up, I just open up our basic black ink pad. And this is, our stamp pads are raised, so you can use them on any size stamp that you have. Oops, and even on your finger a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just turn this upside down and ink it. And I just put my finger here and I hold the sides and I kind of just turn it a little bit as I'm inking it. I press down firmly and I kind of just turn it. Okay, and now I'm going to take my paper and make sure that I have it lined up. So that's why the grid paper is nice. Make sure I have it how I want it. Then I'm going to put it over and then press down firmly. You can also put your paper on top of it, but I wanted to do it this way. Look at, I've got my little note paper. It's so cute. Okay, now I can set that aside. And I'm done with this stamp for this project. And now we'll go ahead and do our embossing. And I'm going to take our Whisper White ink pad, craft ink pad. And I'm going to have our Whisper, or our white embossing powder. And I'm going to be using the Embossing Buddy first. And this I'm just going to lightly go over it. It looks like chalkboard anyway, so it's perfect because this is my chalkboard technique and I can wipe it off after, no problem. Okay, I'm going to take the Whisper White and I'm using the sentiment that says, sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart. And I really, you know, I make a lot of cards for my customers and I just really appreciate all of you that take time to order on my shopping page. Any size order is greatly appreciated. I'm so thankful for you. And I want to show that to you by making you a hand-stamped card every time you place an order. Okay, so I've stamped it in the wet, and while it's still wet with the white, I'm just pouring the powder on the top. Did you see that? So it sticks to it. If you've never embossed before, you are going to love it. And I'm showing you everything you need, all of the supplies for my, I don't know why there's black on here, I don't want that. All of the supplies for this project will be on the description of this video and on mypinkstamper.com. And you can order all of it from my shopping page if you're interested. Okay, so now, I don't need that. I like to put things away if I'm not using them. Okay, so now I'm going to use the heat tool. And I'm going to, you can use tweezers or something to hold it with. I'm just going to make sure that I'm pointing it away from me, and I'm just going to start with, I start with half, and then I go up that way. And you don't need to do the circles. I know some people do circles. It's really not necessary. You can just hold it on there and watch it melt. And just, you can see the consistency change. And then now I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to do the other side. And this is an embossed card now. So this looks professional. Nobody would realize or figure out on their own that you made it yourself, because it's quite a fancy technique, isn't it? But it's super easy. Anybody can do it. All right, so now I have that, and we can now put our card together. I don't need my background paper anymore. I just need to pull these out. So this is what I now will need to finish my card and my background that I stamped right here. Okay, so I'm going to start with this piece here, and I'm going to be putting it on the basic black cardstock, and this is cut at 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And I will just add some of our snail adhesive on here. And do you like how it just makes that pop? Is that just so gorgeous? And now I'm going to fold over the piece of Melon Mambo cardstock, which is cut at 5.5 by 8.5 inches. Just going to fold this over. And I'm going to add the adhesive also on the back of this right here. I'm going to turn it this way. I want it to look like notebook paper. So this is just a simple card, you guys, and you can whip out a ton of these, and I will be doing that today so I can get my thank you packages in the mail to my wonderful customers. And that Stampin' Emboss, or the Stampin' Buddy, you can just get the marks right off. But I'm going to kind of leave most of them because this is the chalkboard technique. And I want it to look like it's a chalkboard. So I'm going to add that there. And I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to use our dimensionals, our Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm just going to use 4. And okay. And I'm going to add that on there. Is that just the sweetest card ever? I love it. And here's the other one I made. Let me zoom in for you guys so you can get a close-up look. Isn't it just so pretty and so fun and bright, and it just pops. And that's what I love about it. I love how it just pops. Okay, if you guys like this video and you're not a subscriber yet, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel and visit me on mypinkstamper.com. I will see you soon. Have a fabulous day. Bye.